Here's the script for the next video, boss. Old and mostly forgotten. Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel, as requested. Wrong game, what do you... Now wait a minute, you said I was covering a series with a terrible third entry, with Cartel in the title. Call of Juarez, the Cartel? Why? No way, I spent months on this thing. I'm not tossing it out to read one of... I don't care that he's busy, I'm not reading his script. Okay, fine, here, give me that. Seriously? You really expect me to begin the video with, "Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Old and Mostly Forgotten"? Didn't think you'd hear that again, huh? Anyway, in this episode, we're reviewing another stinker. Today, we're traveling all the way back to 2011, or as Yahtzee called it, Shooter Season 2011. A year with some noteworthy highs and embarrassing lows for the genre. It was the year Duke Nukem Forever finally broke out of containment and traumatized us all with the alien hive level. But we're not talking about Duke Nukem Forever today, no. We're talking about the other awful, buggy, tone-deaf shooter mired in controversy from the same year. No, the other one. Yep, that's it. Okay, hit it, Johnny.
That looks terrible.
You know.
Grenade out. As the only people left in the club were civilians.
Well, if it isn't my old friend the Call of Juarez franchise, that exciting series of Western FPS games developed by Techland and mostly published by Ubisoft. None of them were runaway financial hits, but they've accrued a loyal cult following over the years. People like the original despite its flaws, the second is considered an overlooked gem, and Gunslinger is loved by both players and critics, easily having the best gameplay and writing in the series, and the level of polish that elevates it above the jank of the previous games. And I think it's due to Gunslinger's excellence that people forget about the game that preceded it, and also because Techland never relisted it after reacquiring the rights to the series. Stick around and you'll see why, believe me.
Who's calling you, Chris? Who's calling you? Chris, what's going on? Who's calling you?
I'm calling you, Chris.
Who's calling you?
Chris, who's calling you,
So Call of Juarez, the Cartel is the maligned and often forgotten black sheep of the franchise, moving the series out of the Old West and into the early 2010s. There's cops instead of cowboys, cartels instead of outlaws, and cars that bounce and explode instead of...
So Greg, I think this is the mission, my friend.
I think it is too. I cannot... What the f*** is happening to this vehicle?
What? Who is driving this f***ing... I'm gonna shoot.
The NPC.
Oh my god.
What the
it's a joke.
was that?
Horses. More on that later. The puzzling shift in setting was the first hurdle the cartel ran into, in part because residents of the city of Juarez considered it exploitative, what with parts of the game taking place in the city, where cartel violence was, and still is, a very real problem. Yeah, this is where the story takes a not-so-fun turn. On February 5th, 2011, 2 days before the cartel was announced, 3 high school students were killed in a parking lot in Juarez by narcos. Putting aside the tired debate of whether games can or should be dabbling with topics like these, I think you know my stance on that by now. I can at least understand why, given the circumstances, residents of Juarez were offended by the cartel. It also didn't help that one of the game's taglines was, "Experience the lawlessness of the modern Wild West." That strikes me as more than a little tasteless. But what I am definitely not sympathetic with were the calls to ban it in Mexico. But that's politicians for you. In this case, Chihuahua Congressman Ricardo Boone Salmon, who had this to say about the cartel.
It is true there is a serious crime situation, which we are not trying to hide, but we also should not expose children to this kind of scenarios, so that they are going to grow up with this kind of image and lack of values.
As far as I can tell, the cartel was not banned in Mexico, and to clarify, the delisting I mentioned earlier had nothing to do with the controversy. Either way, Techland spokesman, yeah, him, came out and said that the game wasn't inspired by any real-life incidents or events, and the conversation mostly ended there. But why did they rip the series out of the Old West, Cal? What the fuck were they thinking? That would be a very good question, and one which hung over the game before and after its release. Well, Ubisoft and Techland both made these somewhat bogus statements about wanting to tell a very gritty and relevant story by shifting the series to a modern setting, which now that I think about it somewhat contradicts Techland's previous statement. And if you took a shot every time they used the words dark and mature in the marketing, you'd be able to make it through this very boring and played out joke that is so boring and played out that making a joke about how it's boring and played out is also boring and played out. What the hell am I reading? So all this shit right here about how modern times are actually just like the Old West if you think about it, that's bullshit as far as I'm concerned. I think the actual reason for the Cartel's change of setting crept out of this GameSpot interview.
We of course want to keep the fans of the franchise happy, because we are great fans of the Western. We have a lot of experience creating it, but we also want to make it accessible and attractive to new audiences, and we hope we can pull it off with a change of setting.
Tale as old as time. But the one feature that fans were reasonably excited for, after swallowing their disdain for the setting, was the co-op. Both Ubisoft and Techland made it clear on several occasions that the Cartel was designed from the ground up with co-op in mind, primarily because of fan feedback from Bound in Blood, which had 2 playable characters but no co-op.
One request immediately soared to the top of the wish list for the fans of the series: co-op. We're addressing that by building the Cartel around a great storyline and a 3-player co-op. You're getting 3 badass main characters who can embark on a road trip from LA to Juarez together. It's very important that all 3 characters are major players in the story. You're never playing a sidekick to your buddy's hero.
This, however, did not quell concerns about the game's quality. In fact, I found this hilariously withering piece from IGN titled "Call of Juarez: The Cartel Should Be Delayed." Here's an excerpt.
I've seen games a year out that are in significantly better shape than Call of Juarez: The Cartel. Slated to release July 19th, the 3rd entry in the franchise looks like it could use many more months of polish. Although, having played its multiplayer, I don't think any amount of polish would make it any good. As a shooter, it just didn't control well and isn't doing anything new or different enough with its game modes or gameplay to warrant more than a passing look and a shrug.
Holy shit, IGN wrote this? This is uncharacteristically brutal for them. Maybe the Ubisoft check bounced. So here's a fun fact. The Cartel doesn't support 7.1 surround sound headsets. The audio gets staticky and then cuts out after a few minutes. So I had to dig up my old 5.1 headset for this video. But here's the issue. The left ear is broken, meaning all the audio of the game and my friends who who volunteered to be in the video was coming out of my right ear the whole time. Could I have just ordered a cheap 5.1 headset off Amazon? No, Walrus Studios doesn't pay me enough. I had to suffer for my art by playing this dogshit game in the worst possible way. Right, but now it's time to buckle up and hunt some outlaws, narcos.
Hey Greg, you want to just stand right here for me real quick?
Yeah, why is that?
Everything.
Yeah, why is that? What's going on? Oh.
And I saw a pale horse, and he who sits upon it, and his name is Death. And he has a bullet with your fucking name on it.
So the Cartel wastes no time in establishing its setting and tone. It starts with a high-speed car chase ripped straight out of a Call of Duty game, and before you can even get a grip on what's going on, it fades to black and informs us that the DEA's offices were bombed on July 4th, 2011 by a Mexican cartel. Naturally, the United States wants to avoid a war with Mexico, so they assemble a task force composed of agents from the DEA, FBI, and LAPD, Eddie Guerra, Kim Evans, and Ben McCall respectively, to get to the bottom of the incident. And before you ask, yes, Ben McCall is supposed to be a descendant of Ray McCall from the previous games. Anyway, McCall gets a tip from a woman named Jessica, whose father, a DEA agent, was threatened a few days before the bombing by a man named Antonio Alvarez. With a witness to protect and a suspect to hunt, the awkward threesome storms out the door and onto the streets of LA, the one wrench in their plans being that each of them has, well, some baggage, some dirty secrets, which they'd rather keep on the down low, if you catch my drift. But can this dysfunctional squad keep their secrets from each other while performing their duties as law enforcement officers? Let's find out.
They must have been watching us.
Hey,
Someone was careless.
Or someone talked.
What are you saying?
I'm saying someone dropped a goddamn dime, and it sure the fuck wasn't me.
No, because it's never the white guy who's the bad guy, right?
Give me a fucking break, S.A.
What the hell is wrong with you people?
You're supposed to be protecting me. You're supposed to be working together.
That's the biggest joke of all.
You know, trying to write a detailed review of a game you played in co-op is like trying to recall a wild night on the town while you're hungover the next day. Or so I've been told. I don't know, I don't get out much. As much as I love my co-op games, I can understand why most story games are single-player only. Sure, you and your friends may start out listening attentively to every cutscene, but that initial solemnity quickly devolves into laughing, shouting, and farting as you get further in.
That looked like dog shit, that cutscene.
Yeah.
I like how you were what the fuck? Why would you stand up like that?
I don't know. I broke my arms.
Because I value my integrity as a critic, I decided to play the Cartel twice, one playthrough with friends and one alone. And trust me when I say that laughing, shouting, and farting, that last part's important, is the best way to experience the Cartel, because the story ain't very good. It falls apart under any scrutiny, and it's also fucking obnoxious. I think that comes down to just how amazingly awful and unlikable the characters are. We've been over this before, but to reiterate, I'm not saying a story needs to have likable characters to be good. But if your characters aren't likable, they'd better at least be funny or interesting, and the Cartels are neither. They're just grating.
We need to let the public know that any foreign asshat who comes after us in our own country will get lit up like a goddamn Christmas tree.
It doesn't help that they basically have the same interactions throughout the whole game. They carp, bitch, moan, and are overall so incredibly belligerent that you wonder why the fuck they were paired together to begin with.
What the hell happened?
I had my eye on Don Levy, but something just didn't seem right.
All you had to do was secure the goddamn perimeter.
Did he give you the key?
Hey, if he did, I would have said so.
Did you search him?
I'm telling you, man, he didn't have any goddamn key.
Don Levy could have been working for
And
anybody.
now we're not gonna find out who, why, or what because you let someone put a bullet
I'm
through
not
the son
the
of
one
a
who told
bitch's
Dixon
I'm just waiting
about
for the
meat.
Don't put that on me. We all
that
fucking
one
agreed.
level.
I understand that one of the themes of the game is that trust is a fragile thing, but there's no way the United States would sign off on a task force whose agents are so openly hostile to each other. Again, falls apart under any scrutiny. And on top of the game having the most grating characters in the world, the dialogue sounds like shit. I don't mean that it's badly written, though it is. I mean it sounds like every line of dialogue was recorded in a porta potty. It's hard to describe, but there's this weird, tinny echo in almost every cutscene that's impossible to ignore.
That bombing was no accident. They knew exactly where and when to strike.
And that's why neither the DEA nor the FBI are running this operation. We have a totally autonomous team.
Miss Dixon, I have another meeting to get to. From this moment on, it's all up to you. Don't fuck it up.
Seriously, even my earlier videos have better audio quality. The third and final weapon is an assault rifle. Definitely the least interesting weapon to use out of the three, but still a pretty workmanlike weapon. Okay, that's not true. But you know what? I expected better from a AAA production. And you know what's frustrating? The story has potential. As terribly written as most of it is, it does have a few effective moments where it explores the impact of corrupt law enforcement. Kim's ending comes to mind. The DEA also isn't depicted in the best light, and the LAPD is nose deep in corruption. Literally. Just look at Ben McCall's schnoz and tell me this man doesn't live and breathe corruption. Good lord, it's so big it deserves its own spot in the credits. But good ideas don't amount to anything when given to writers with feet for hands. And speaking of wasted potential, I say we move on to the gameplay, because honestly, there's not much more to say about the story other than that it's stupid and shitty.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see the problem. You're just,
Oh, what the f is this?
you're just clipping it out of the ground right now.
That looks like
I'm back at the
Alcris.
corner.
That looks like Alcris.
The thing I admired about the Call of Juarez franchise, when it was still around, was that it was always trying new things with each game. While they share some thematic similarities, all four games are distinct entities from a gameplay standpoint. The first game is slow and more focused on storytelling and atmosphere, with the occasional puzzle here and there. Bound in Blood ditches the puzzles and methodical pacing in favor of bombastic action and spectacle. Gunslinger leans into farcical territory with its story and plays like an arcade shooter. And the Cartel is Call of Duty. Okay, that's not quite true. It's more like Call of Duty if it was dropped on its head as a baby and then raised by aliens. That would explain why the physics in this game are completely borked.
Oh my.
What the fuck? I feel like I have like a concussion or something. I don't know what's happening.
Oh my. Oh.
What?
I hate this. I hate this so goddamn much.
Someone fucking talked. Someone inside.
Does this car have like boom shoes on it?
It's got a go-go gadget spring under the fucking like
Go gadget car bounce.
The kindest thing you could say about the Cartel is that it is, at best, a subpar shooter with a couple of interesting co-op gimmicks. But the reality is that the Cartel is a buggy, migraine-inducing nightmare with half-assed mechanics, bad driving, terrible gunplay, and ugly visuals. I'd still argue that Duke Nukem Forever was the worst-looking AAA game to release that year, especially considering how long it took to make, but the Cartel isn't far behind it. It's yet another early 2010s FPS with the bloom setting cranked all the way up, extremely shallow depth of field, and fucking motion blur. Put all of that together and it just looks like the screen is covered in pizza grease. Yeah, that's not YouTube compressing the video, that's just how the game looks. Now look here, I love plenty of shooters from that era, but you know what feature I'm glad we've left in the 2010s? Oversensitive, out-of-bounds zones. And to that end, this game may have the worst ones I've seen. There are certain spots where if you step one pinky toe out of bounds, you fail, and you barely even get a warning. It flashes on screen for a quarter of a second and then disappears. It's astoundingly awful, restrictive level design, even for its era, and the sections where you split up exacerbate these problems. So there's a part near the halfway point where the players controlling Ben and Eddie need to race through a club to get to a parking garage, and whoever is playing as Kim needs to plow through a nearby alley to meet them. But here's the thing, if you, playing as Kim, beat them to the garage, you can't go in. You have to wait until they get there first. But then when they show up, you have to wait until they clear out the garage before you can move in. Otherwise, fish and mailed. You stepped out of bounds, jackass.
You're about to leave the mission area.
Hold on. Chris, I'm sorry, I'm currently...
No, you're fine.
I think I can actually... No, you're about to leave the mission area.
How the fuck is this out of bounds? It's part of the level. I'm sorry, did anyone playtest this game? I'm gonna pop a blood vessel if I keep going like this, so before we continue with the complaints, let's talk about the one feature, the one single solitary idea that's somewhat interesting, and which I'd like to see in a better game, the secret agendas.
You think I didn't see that?
What are you?
Are you tampering with evidence, Craig?
You know? What makes you say that?
No, let him go.
Okay, I got it.
I hate you.
So the deal here is that every character has items they need to find in each mission. Kim needs to be on the lookout for illegal firearms, Eddie needs to find drugs, and Ben needs to find wallets or whatever he's looking for. And occasionally in the middle of a mission, you'll receive a call from your support character informing you there's a secret mission nearby. For example, when you're playing as Kim, there's a part near the end of the game where you need to meet up with an informant.
For a Marvel Rivals game, you know?
Apparently.
These Jonos nothing.
Secretly fantastic, Mr. Bombastic.
Mr. Bombas. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate you.
Sure.
But here's the kicker. You need to find these items and complete these missions covertly.
What are you doing, Sam?
I have no goddamn idea. I get it.
I won't look.
This is a great idea. Gold star, Walrus Studios seal of approval, round of applause.
Hi, how's it going there, Greg?
Hello.
Next time, I won't look the other way.
I was literally in the same room with you. I don't know why you're trying that.
No surprise, the most fun we had with the Cartel was when we were doing the secret agendas, as they add a fun ripple to the gameplay. Not only do you have to stay on top of the current mission, but you also need to be hunting for opportunities to secure your items and complete your secret missions. What I found was often a good opportunity to do so was in the middle of a firefight. Just make sure your friends are distracted and then leg it in the opposite direction and grab your items. Work 60% of the time, all the time.
The minigun kind of slaps, by the way.
You have a minigun?
You Sam. Eat shit.
Are you kidding me?
Huh? How the fuck did I not spot you there? What the fuck? I don't understand this fucking piece of shit game.
I guess because I technically hit at the last second. I don't know.
I was at line of sight of you. What the fuck?
But to that end, I really wish there was some variation in the items you need to find. The biggest flaw with the secret agendas is that once your friends figure out which items you're looking for, and vice versa, it's very easy to grief each other. This leads to moments where your friends will discover an item you're looking for before you do and camp it, like a bunch of assholes.
No problem. We're looking for Tina. You know where she is?
I don't know it, Tina. You want a little tour of the
Go ahead,
club?
Greg.
Wine. Maybe there's nothing.
Gentlemen's club in-
Why would you be interested? Why would you be interested in the sponge, Christopher?
Yeah, why would you be interested in the sponge?
Is it possible that sponge has some properties to it?
Funny though it is, I'm not sure if this is how the developers intended the game to be played. And while we're complaining about the one good idea in this terrible game, I also think the rewards for the secret agendas are ill thought out. So the secret items and missions have absolutely no impact on the story. The game has multiple endings, but they all hinge on a choice you make in the last 5 minutes. Everything leading up to that though, meaningless. At least from a narrative standpoint, all you get is XP, which goes towards unlocking new weapons. Do you see the problem here? Imagine a situation where one player is completing all their secret objectives while the others are struggling with theirs. The result is one player ending up with all the god-slaying weapons while the rest are plinking away with the shit ones. While I wouldn't say that the game is ball-bustingly difficult, it does have a few nasty difficulty spikes, especially, again, in the parts where you split up. There's a mission where the Ben player needs to hold out in a trailer for a few minutes while being assaulted from every side by narcos and helicopters. One player. This section is hard enough as it is. Now imagine you're doing it with low or mid-tier weapons. So from a pragmatic standpoint, there is absolutely no reason to be an asshole and stop players from finding their items. But where's the fun in that?
Chrissy's got an item in here.
Where are you?
Here.
You know, Sam, it's not unusual for somebody to bring a gun into a place like this.
You expect this game to be
it doesn't have to be my gun. It doesn't have to be a gun
Sam,
I'm
where
looking
the
for.
fuck is
I'm
it?
trying to confiscate.
Let's see this place.
It's right in the chair.
And this is such a wasted opportunity, because the cool thing about the Cartel, can't believe I just called something in this game cool, is that players experience the same missions differently. You have different cutscenes, sometimes different objectives, and at other times hear things that the other players can't. So you know that Alvarez guy, the one I mentioned earlier? Did you know he's actually an informant for the FBI? Well, you wouldn't if you were playing as Eddie or Ben. So here's the deal. During one mission, you need to capture Alvarez and secure his money. Obviously, you need to split up. So Kim goes after Alvarez while Ben and Eddie secure the money. Ben and Eddie get into a pretty intense firefight. But here's what happens with Kim.
Well,
Yeah, you have to help Sam with the money.
What the hell is going on there, Evan?
Here comes
Not
money.
now! I'm apprehending Alvarez!
That's kind of neat because the first time Sam and I played, we just
Let
had
him
to
go.
the money.
What?
He's our CI.
That was probably because
inside the
Kim
cartel.
wasn't fucking,
He's
like in
our guy.
our
You
multiplayer
weren't
lineup.
supposed to know that, but now that you do, you need to protect
Like none
him.
of us are playing
You
as stuff.
hear me?
I think her name's
That's
Kim.
an order.
Yes.
Let him go.
That's really cool. Now here's another scene that plays differently for Kim.
Did you kill Patrick Stone?
Did you kill Kevin Donlevy?
Who was Don Levy working for?
Nobody as far as I know. He's retired FBI.
Don't lie to me about this. He was on your boss's payroll, wasn't he?
you, Greg.
I have many bosses. Ask Waters. He's my boss too.
I'm asking you.
See, this opens up so many opportunities for roleplay. Imagine the same attention to detail in a game with branching paths. You'd want to keep an important detail like this to yourself, and wait for an opportunity in the story to make your move. I mean, I like that you can betray your partners at the end and duke it out with Desert Eagles. I would have loved more stuff like this in the game, because it's fun, intense, and for its time, innovative. What a fucking waste of a great concept. See, that's the frustrating thing about playing bad games. Sometimes you find an interesting idea, or kernels of one, and it makes you irrationally mad that it was 1, wasted on a terrible game, and 2, that no other game has tried it again, or in this instance, no co-op FPS has. Maybe the reason nobody has tried these ideas again is that the only thing people remember about the Cartel is how buggy it is. Oh boy, is it buggy.
Cool. Let's go.
Yeah! Come here, go!
You
guys are
I
funny.
will not be able to. What?
I want to fucking.
I don't understand.
Oh God.
I will show you the replay, Sam. We did nothing. Nothing.
Chase him down!
Wait, what?
Whoa!
What? How? You were all the way downstairs! Oh my
I
god.
was, yeah, but I was facing towards your direction.
That is stupid.
Every possible bug you can experience in a game is here. Network issues, soft locks, objects glitching in and out of existence, missing textures, and let's not forget, falling out of the map.
That looks like hell, Chris. That looks like hell, Chris. Chris, try to push out. Break the boundaries. See what happens.
You escaped?
I'm outside.
You're outside?
The funniest one by far was when one of the NPCs we were escorting decided to just walk off the map.
Ignore this. Ignore this. Ignore this.
Oh, I see. I see.
This fucking look at it fucking go.
Is he gonna make his way up the cliff? Oh, wait.
Oh.
And Alvarez was never seen again.
And later on, Jessica hid in an alley and refused to move, even after we cleared the area of enemies. We threw grenades at her, killed each other, restarted the mission about 6-7 times, nothing. But just as we were ready to give up, just as we were about to say fuck it and skip to the next mission, she unglitched herself.
If I had a disc copy of this bastard game, I'd smash it with a hammer.
And just what the hell is going on with the cars in this game? Does Teclan know how cars work? They bounce and rubber band and sometimes just fucking explode when hit.
I genuinely have no idea. There's like guys to the side of.
It's just oh, and you know what I tried to do for this video, by the way? I tried to 100% the game, because I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I 100%ed this terrible game and made a joke in the video about how agonizing it was? Oh, Cal, you rascal, you. So I slogged through this game by myself on the hardest difficulty. I died over, and over, and over, and over.
And I saw a pale horse, and he who sits upon it, and his name is Death. And he has a bullet with your fucking name on it.
And you know what happened? The achievement didn't unlock. No, I can't. I refuse. I'm done. I never want to play this game ever again. So anyway, what happened? So the Cartel released in the US on July 19th, 2011, and in Australia and Europe a few days later. Short story made even shorter, it was universally panned and swiftly kicked to the curb. I wasn't able to find any sales numbers, but I'm gonna venture a guess and say that it probably sold like shit. Now typically this is the part where I say that the franchise ended here. In most circumstances, a game as embarrassingly bad as the Cartel would be enough to destroy even the most respected series. But that ain't what happened, baby. Instead, 2 years later, we got...
I knew if I made it out of there in one piece, no one would put a price on mine. Because everybody in Lincoln would be dead? No. Because they all thought I was Billy. And all that blame would fall on him.
Oh, it's just peak, my dudes. It's so good, it's terrific. Anyway, I already made a video on Gunslinger, so go watch it if you haven't. Okay, but Gunslinger does seem to be the end of the series. Yes, I'm aware that Teclan's CEO claimed in an interview a few years back that he'd love to come back to the Wild West genre, in the same interview where he called the Cartel a mistake, but let's be real, it's Jover. Gunslinger was the final bow, a way to end the series on a high note. And you know what? That's fine. Would I love to see the series come back? Of course. I'd like to see Sin come back too, but how likely is that going to happen, huh? As sad as it is, I find it's better to move on in these situations. Why waste your time daydreaming about what could have been? I say we treasure the games we got. Well, not all of them. Hello everyone, this is Cal recording this audio from the editing booth. Unfortunately, some of the audio from the what happened section of the video got corrupted, so I'm just gonna very quickly fill you in on what that was. So one of the things I went over was an article to do with Crunch written by Game Informer about 7 years ago. It mentions Call of Juarez the Cartel in here, and to be honest, I'm not surprised. Now everything makes a little more sense now. And the other thing I wanted to very quickly go over is apparently there are rumors of another Call of Juarez title being worked on. I'm still somewhat skeptical because I don't think the market for these types of shooters exists anymore, but hey, I hope it comes out. Okay, that's it. Now get out of here. Bye. I have a lot of bile for the Cartel, mainly for its obnoxious characters and bugs. But you know what's funny? I think if the game was still commercially available and on sale, I'd probably end this review with a recommendation, with the caveat that you shouldn't play it alone. Playing it with my friends was a blast, and made the most agonizing parts of the game more tolerable, and even funny. But seeing as you now have to jump through 8,000 hoops to get a copy, perhaps even sailing some seas that are considered high, well, to put it simply, the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Son of a bitch!
Call of Juarez the Cartel is terrible, both on its own and when compared with the rest of the series. Ripping the series out of the Old West was a mistake, as the story ended up being little more than a conga line of cop movie cliches and tropes, populated by shallow and unlikable characters, who you'll be thoroughly sick of by the time the credits roll. While it isn't bereft of good ideas from a gameplay standpoint, they're kneecapped by the numerous bugs and glitches. Some are funny and some are game-breaking and frustrating. The best way to play it is with friends, and with a few bottles of whiskey. Giddyup, cowboy, wee!
That was dog shit.
Blah, 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 blah. Thank you all for watching. Hit that subscribe button, blah, 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 blah. Stay tuned for more videos, blah, 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 and done. Wow, I sure loved reading a script I didn't write. If I see that asshole, I'm gonna... I know it would compromise Walrus Studios security if he saw me. I was being hyperbolic. Wait, what do you mean terminate?
We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. Your program will resume momentarily.
Okay, signals coming from inside the mountain. Let's get a move on.
Thank God, I'm ready to be done with this shit.
Say, you think anyone back at HQ misses me?
I know I wouldn't.
Well, I didn't ask if you would.
Piss off. Oh, look at that. Another embarrassing outburst from you to add to my report. Happy New Year, bitch.
Hello everyone, this is Head Scientist Cal reporting from the cave in New York. I just wanted to fill you in on where I've been for the past month and a half in case you haven't seen the status updates. I intended this video to come out in December, and then afterward I was going to make another best and worst of the year list like last year. I really wanted to do that because it was a lot of fun to make, and there were some games I really wanted to talk about, like Dispatch and Alan Wake 2. But unfortunately, at the beginning of December, I got very sick. I had the flu, and my voice sounded like shit for 3 weeks. I mean, I alternated between sounding like an 80-year-old chain smoker and the Merc announcer from Black Ops 2. You know, this guy.
Good news. The check cleared. It's go time.
Okay, I didn't sound that cool, but either way, I was in no shape to record any audio. So I spent a good 2 weeks in bed, and when I wasn't in bed, I was actually replaying the Doom games, because guess what? I picked up Doom the Dark Ages over the most recent sale, and I intend on doing a micro-review of it. I find it fascinating how divisive it's been. I actually wasn't expecting that, because the recent Doom games have been very well received. But I'm interested in seeing where I land on that. Hot take. I really love the divisive Doom games. Doom 64 is my favorite classic Doom game, and Doom 3 is flat out one of my favorite Doom games. Yeah, come on, fight me. It's a good game, it's well-paced, it's atmospheric. Either way, Happy New Year, thanks for putting up with another year of my bullshit, and I'll see you in the new year with some more exciting videos. This is Head Scientist Cal, signing out for now.